Good morning, everyone. This is Mike Romali here with a severe weather outlook and discussion recorded on May 4th, 2023. May the 4th be with you. Recorded around 9:20 a.m. Eastern Time. We have a lot of things to jump into today, so let's go ahead and jump straight into everything. There is a level 1 out of 5 marginal risk for severe storms today. This generally running from the Texas-Mexico border all the way through Dallas, Oklahoma City to near Tulsa and near Omaha, Nebraska. And this risk for severe storms generally consists of the threat for damaging winds and isolated large hail. We also have a level 2 out of 5 slight risk for severe storms, this stretching from again the Texas-Mexico border all the way through to near Oklahoma City, El Reno, Oklahoma, back just to the south of the Kansas border into portions of the Oklahoma Panhandle. If we look at the tornado risk for today, there is a broad 2% area from about Wichita Falls, Texas, all the way through Oklahoma City, Enid, and just to the south and west of Wichita, Kansas. Again, generally speaking, the tornado threat today is conditional. We'll talk about why here in just a second. But there is a threat for tornadoes. Maybe an isolated strong tornado or two with any of the more intense supercells that are expected today, but still, nonetheless, 2%, meaning you have a 2% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of a given point. There is also a broad risk for damaging hail today. This is the hail threat. Again, generally speaking, 5% areas stretching from near Omaha south to the Texas-Mexico border. This includes places like Houston, Dallas, Oklahoma City, with the slight risk that 15% areas stretching from near Oklahoma City and Enid down south towards and just to the west of Dallas, San Angelo, and to the Texas-Mexico border. So there is a threat for some strong hail or some damaging hail today. We're talking the potential for seeing a 15% risk of hail over 1 inch or greater within 25 miles of a given point. So you might have some large hail there upwards of roughly about 1 inch, maybe an isolated case that is up to about 2 inches in diameter. And in terms of the wind threat for today, only a 5% area stretching the entire marginal risk area. We also have a separate risk for some isolated severe storms near Salt Lake City today and near Boise, Idaho, and to near really up there into portions of Washington and just to the east of Portland. But again, generally speaking, this risk is more just a marginal threat, not really seeing too much, but some damaging winds, maybe an isolated large hailstone or two, but no threat for tornadoes up here. So that is certainly some good news. And just real quickly, looking at the day 2 forecast, we have 3 separate areas for severe storms tomorrow. We have one up there in Nebraska and well into the northeastern part of Colorado. We have another marginal risk stretching from near New Orleans through about Memphis, Tennessee, and just to near Little Rock, Arkansas. And then we have a slight risk for severe storms, this just to the south and west of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Taking a look here at the satellite imagery for this morning, looking here at the infrared satellite, we notice that there's extensive cloud cover out across the target area for today. And we're also looking at the temperatures overlaid on here, and temperatures are well into the upper 50s out across portions just to the northeast of Oklahoma City. That's the Tulsa reading there at about 59 degrees. Dallas is sitting roughly at about 64 degrees. So we notice there's a very stark temperature spread from near Oklahoma City down to near Houston, where temperatures are approaching the mid 70s at this point. So certainly we are quite cool to start the morning. And with this extensive cloud cover, that is going to limit the instability that can build in later today for any appreciable severe weather threat, which is why that tornado threat was ultimately lowered down to a 2%. So just something to monitor, but overall, this should limit the overall severe weather potential for today. Taking a look here at the HRRR forecast, this is an overlay of the simulated radar and mixed layer CAPE values. We notice that generally speaking, by late afternoon, we should have instability creep up. And this is something that we're going to be watching very carefully here. This is by about 14Z heading into today. Now, Generally speaking, this is already kind of wrong, but this is by about 17Z here, so a couple of hours away. We notice that instability values will be increasing out across the Amarillo area and down southward, and this is mainly targeting our southern end threat. There's a potential for some very significant hail down here just to near San Antonio, and the reason why is because all of this mixed layer instability just aloft here. Now, generally speaking, thunderstorms could initiate as early as between about 18 and 19Z heading into this afternoon. And at least on the HRRR model, we can see that showers and thunderstorms become more widespread and numerous, with the potential for a cluster of storms developing out here near the Oklahoma City area, with isolated, more discrete supercells that will be forming south of the Shreveport area and around kind of the Houston, San Antonio, Corpus Christi area between this afternoon and evening. So something to kind of monitor. This is heading into very early tomorrow morning that we could be dealing with some supercells, some pretty strong storms out there across this region. But generally speaking, the overall cloud cover is going to be a tempering factor for now. Switching over to looking at the NAM 3 kilometer, again, the same general overlays here. We notice that the NAM 3 kilometer is a little bit more aggressive in terms of the instability that ends up returning across the area. And this will be something to kind of monitor as we head into the evening. We notice that, again, generally speaking, we notice a large amount of showers and embedded thunderstorms right now through the early afternoon hours. This will kind of clear, and at least here on the solution of the NAM 3 kilometer, it's a little bit more aggressive with that instability axis returning. And we get showers and discrete thunderstorms that develop up here in the northern side to the northwest of Oklahoma City, and more discrete cells that develop southwest of Houston, kind of to the northwest of the San Antonio area. And we notice what ends up happening, at least here on the NAM 3 kilometer. We end up getting kind of a mesoscale convective complex that develops to the northwest of Oklahoma City, clears out all of this instability, and we have semi-discrete cells down here to the northwest of San Antonio and to the southwest here near the Texas-Mexico border. Again, these cells down to the south are mainly going to be a very large hail threat. The tornado threat today I don't think is going to be quite high, and those cloud bases would be elevated as well. So the tornado threat overall is pretty low. However, there is a non-zero chance for sure. And I think, again, large hail is going to be the primary threat up here. And to the north, I think for today, damaging winds is probably going to be the main potential for today, but cannot rule out an isolated tornado or two, especially with any of the strongest cells and with any potential line embedded cells as well. So just kind of something to monitor as we progress throughout the rest of today. As far as the overall severe weather parameters for today across northern Texas into Oklahoma, generally speaking, there is going to be a moderate amount of lift, shear, and instability. Again, instability is a little bit more conditional based on how the cloud cover is able to move on out of there during the course of this afternoon during peak heating. There will be plenty of shear around. Looking at shear amounts, generally speaking, over about 250 meters squared per second squared. So generally speaking, shear should be plentiful if any storms can get going, and if shear can increase, there could be a tornado threat. And in terms of looking at the southern Texas severe weather parameters for today, again, May 4th, 2023, lifting isn't going to be as high. There is a low parameter space for lifting, generally speaking, because the better atmosphere dynamics are going to be towards the north here. But generally, instability and moisture is going to be a lot higher. Shear is also going to suffer the further south you get. That's why the hail threat today is probably going to be the greatest threat down there. 2 inches in diameter or more in hail is possible today, so be sure to keep that in mind. Hail is no joke. We've obviously seen that before. Hail can be a billion-dollar disaster. It does not take an EF5 tornado, so just keep that in mind. Make sure to be prepared. Make sure to stay safe if weather warnings come your way. So with that being said, I do hope you have a great rest of your afternoon and evening. Of course, I am Mike O'Malley, and I'll talk to you guys again some more over the next several days.